So, you hear this noise campaign, you understand that noise campaign is usually done to stop reality and perceptions to be put back in reality. As I said before, these people are very easily, you understand what they do, and because what they do is systematic. I was watching something, and early in the last video, you see this kid that's like 14, 15, something like that. They were trying to make me perceive this child in different sexual ways, in different ways. They try to make her think of some adult that can resemble her and try to create this interest looking, make me create some interest into her. It's so nasty. But that's what they do. And they're very systematic what they do. That's why I make videos. That's why there's almost 200 videos about the same thing. It's because I want to create an obvious pattern of what they do. What they do is systematic, is obvious, and then they try to use the same tactics to make you subscribe to this. And they're going to create theaters of all sorts. I hear them tell me they're going to ship me, they're going to do this. Listen, everything they're going to do at this point is just a theater, a creation of horribleness to try to counter the reality of what they do, because it's obvious. What I'm saying is not magical. Is not magical, but all I have to describe is what's happening to me to figure out that obviously something is being done to me that makes me perceive things in certain ways. And I don't even need to use my own words. Other people's words have described what I'm experiencing. And if you ever saw who is talking to me, if you ever have the ability to hear what and who is speaking to me, you understand for sure that these same people are the people who do everything possible to get you to make you accept this falsified reality. They use different tonality. They use these childlike individuals. They use these ways of trying to agitate you. It's like kids trying to persuade you to accept something. And you see them for what they are, and they get frustrated. They tell me they're going to ship me, they're going to castrate me, they're going to do... And it's like, listen, at this point, whatever you're going to do to me, it's not going to stop the reality of things. These people, for me at least, they've used agitations, they have used loud voices, they have intimidation tactics, they have tonality tactics, they have used everything to try to make you subscribe. I was watching this thing where there's this video about like somebody who pretend to be something and then scare people, right? And there's some kind of videos I would love to watch, but every time they were trying to create perception of sexuality, because sometimes they were like kids or people who look like who could be kids, and they were creating these perceptions, right? And all the time I could feel intense perceptions of sexuality all the time, even if they were adults. And I was like, that's what they're doing this, because there's going to be probably a child or somebody there. When they scare people, one of the people there scared is going to be a child. And so that's what they do. It's obvious. I'm not saying anything magical. And they use these childlike people who just like try to say everything. It's like, no, that's you. It's like, listen, you even sound like a child trying to convince an adult into accepting something that's false. And then they do these things where, okay, let's try to get our credibility. Now, I understand this technology truly has the ability to make you experience memories that you felt. So it's the same thing I've said. They use this sophistication of the technology that not only can manipulate your perceptions, your everything else, but also the ability to obviously get a real sensation of a memory that you experience. Because these people have the ability to manipulate your memories. If they have the ability to manipulate your memories, they can have the ability to actually access your memories. That's the only way you can manipulate memory is to access your memory. And so I'm watching this thing about this country, right? And they gave me a feeling where I remember feeling when I was like a very young boy maybe in kindergarten, right? Late kindergarten, early early primary school, so elementary school. and gave me this feeling. And I'm like, okay. So what they're trying to do is, after they've done these perceptions and stimulations early on, they're trying to find credibility by giving me an example of how you were feeling when you were in elementary school, right? Because what they're trying to do is to make me accept what they make me perceive now. And I've said that many times. This is how they have the ability. In 2020, I've talked about it. If you go into my video made in October 29th, 2020, I talked about the different ways they have the ability to access your memories, right? And you can see the patterns now, because we're in 2023 and I'm still talking about the same thing the same way. How is that possible? It's because they're very systematic. I'm not magical, I'm not a genius, but these people maintain these systematic tactics. And then somebody's standing by the trash and is sweating and just starts making noise campaign, try to get me to like accept this nonsensicalness of, because we have the ability to make you feel something you actually felt in your memories. Now you should accept these perceptions, these manipulations that we force you to have. And then right now, as I'm speaking, what they're trying to do to counter, they use these childlike people, right? They try to use these like childlike voices. It's like, no, they are. It's you. It won't. It's like, listen, whatever is going to happen to me, however tone of voice you're using, is not going to make me subscribe to this falsification, because these people are very systematically doing things. To all my target individuals, understand yourself. Because these people will do everything possible to make you accept these falsifications. But for me, thankfully, some of them they sound like children. Some others are just clowns, grown women that sound like trash, who just use these warnings and threats of what's going to happen to you as if that's validations. But I know they have fear of something, not of me, because they understand what they do is foul. I'm not subscribing to this. I see them for pedophiles that they are. The way they make me perceive children, the way they make me perceive reality, memories, and falsifications, and then try to get credibility by bringing some random memory to try to get you to accept this falsification of what you experience. Is super systematic and super obvious, because after a while you understand, it's like, wow, I'm not a genius. I'm not. Listen, I don't even want to downside myself, but you will understand the system after a while. Right? You understand the system and the disorientation. So right now they try to make me go somewhere else so I can stop talking about the way they make me experience things. It's called they disorient you in so many ways, because you are able to see what they do. These people want you to look at what they do as if it's organically happening, as if it makes sense. It doesn't. You obviously know that this is not natural. You will not look at this child in this way. You will not look at this thing this way. You not look at you understand that. And you have these childlike people who at this point trying to use all the different tonality. Oh no, they are. It's you. No, they'll kill you. And you understand it. First of all, you're talking to people who are the bottom feeders, really children-like people. They know the time will come, right? Even the children at this point are understanding. I heard this kid say, 10 years from now, I'll regret it. Now, 10 years from now is still, because that person's like very young. She'll still be she'll still be younger than me. I'm like, so 10 years from now, it's not that long. We still be like very young. Because they know that they have sold their soul to pedophiles. And when they try to get you to accept these nasty perceptions, you as a man or a woman who knows yourself know that it's falsified. And this childlike person will tell you they are, who don't want to be seen because it's humiliating. You see this child like you. I've seen one of this person talking to me before. I saw that. I would start laughing. I started laughing because I was like, this is the kind of people who try to get you to accept these things. It's humiliating. And then you hear some trash contracted by the government outside yelling, they're going to castrate you. It's hairy. It's like, listen, whatever it is, I most likely will run toward that. because the tactics is intimidate you into accepting these false perceptions, try to find credibility, and they use this gimmicky childlike individuals who sound like a child who's trying to make you accept something. It's like you are a parent and the child is trying to get you to subscribe to a BS story. It's like, no, daddy, it's not really, dad, yes, yeah, they are. So that's how they literally sound like that. I don't know if they realize that, but you understand this. It's like you are like a clown, a child who's trying to prove, like try to make me accept something that's false. Daddy, yes, everybody does that, Dad. You know, like that's how they sound like when they talk to me, like when they use this video key, and it's pathetic. And then you have these grown men and women who then bring up some random things. Oh, you're gonna be tortured. It's like, well, okay. And I know this is falsified. It's a falsified perception. Oh, then they bring a memory, because this technology, of course, has full capability to make you experience, as I say, in October 2020, October 2020, October 29, 2020, I brought you different aspect of memory they can create. They can bring up an actual memory of something you experienced. I said in that video. Let me repeat it. It was on October 29, 2020, right? We're in 2023. So almost 3 years from now, right? I literally said they can bring a memory that you actually experience. You can smell something, it brings you back to some time that you experienced that some, and then they can bring up a new version of that. Then they can create a new version of that, and that's how they do these things. That's why you can create false memories. And so when they want to create this credibility, they start bringing up things like, oh, listen, you remember that? You remember this? Yeah, you see, we can do that. So this perception is real. That is how it is. And they tell me then after that, like, oh, kill yourself, do this and that. And it's like, and you hear these people who are very vulnerable, very childlike, telling you to kill yourself, but you know they couldn't last too much. They couldn't last too long. I could look at them as like, you're a clown, and they want to kill themselves. And you have to understand yourself, because they're going to do everything possible. Traumatized individuals do not subscribe to these nasty perceptions they force you to experience. These people are pedophiles. No, regardless of how young these people sound like, they're contracted to get you to accept these things. And yes, they're very young people. Some of them are very young, but obviously they're not the one running the show. Listen to even the way these young people talk to you. It's like a kid trying to make you accept and convince you to something that's not true. Then you hear these grown women and men who are just like talking about tortures in order to make you accept something. And you're like, you're a clown. I know it's not me. I know you're forcing me to experience these things. And you're trash. You're a pedophile who even try to force a grown man or woman to accept these things. And then use these basic tactics to try to gaslight somebody into accepting this. I have no doubt. And you're going to continuously do this. But this is why there's so many pedophiles in these agencies that empower these low lives, because they try to get you to accept these things and then call themselves being at war. These cowards. I mean, I'm not the first or the last person who call them cowards. I show them for what they are. And then tell me how these people are going to torture me sees this. I'm like, okay, now I subscribe to the thing. I don't care. But I know that you guys are forcing me to experience this nastiness. Traumatized individuals, know yourself. This battlefield sold their soul to pedophiles. They're cowards, they're low life, they're trash, and they're frauds. You could be living like this. There's grown men and women who sound like these children. And it's so pathetic to find that your coworker is a child who speaks. No, they are. It's you. We are. That's the kind of things they sound like. I'm not exaggerating. I just want to give you a sample of what I'm experiencing. Traumatized individuals stay strong, because if you ever know that somebody could be working with you that sounds like that, who's like a childlike individual, you understand at that point that it's something that you should not be in. And I'm glad that I didn't have to sell my soul and do the things that these people do to feel this empowerment.